Cool. All right, so it's got a multi-second delay on it, but as long as it's processing, that's all that matters, right? First off, let's give a hearty shout out to who's giving the music tonight. Quote, Random Witch House Mix. It's got 14,000 views from 2 years ago from ELENILENI, because I don't know what that word is. It's probably someone's name and I don't want to screw it up. I don't know. We're starting what, 8 minutes 20 seconds into like a 50-minute mix. Make sure it's not too loud, but this shit's quite bumping. I like it. Alright, so I've got a live chat if you want to pop in right now, and I'll answer anything that you may want to ask me. But at this time, ain't nobody there, because this is one of the first Q&A things, I guess? I don't know. I don't know. Where to begin? I'm gonna toke this and get some thoughts going. Open widget. Huh. Apparently it says I have non-optimal video resolution. So, because I haven't formatted my webcam to go through my platform software that I do the base editing on for live streaming, and its output, YouTube's already unhappy with it. So that's a thing to note. And what, I don't know, a minute in. This is all the wonderful things. I guess here's a great start to point out. I'm a failed business owner, and I've tried it a couple of times, and it's rather frustrating. It's so frustrating to actually dedicate so much of yourself to a project that you thought was gonna work, and you know what? It didn't. And having a lot of fucking failure in your face is not fun. If you're ever gonna start your own business, you got to get ready for that. And I guess my audience is a bunch of 13-year-olds. I have to remember that an algorithm doesn't understand crude humor or intellectual nuances. It sees words and goes, ooh, bad. So I'm going to have to try to watch myself and clean up my language some. It's the thing that I've had a hard time with. I also blame that with the influence of the people in my life. So now that I've got better control, it means that I can switch my rhetoric in a manner of speaking. It's one of the challenges of relationships. So, for all the 13-year-olds there, all the people that have a 9-year-old sense of humor, any of the girls on the internet, you don't have to show off your boobs. I get it. By now, you're on the internet. It's a real thing. The rules have changed. That's one of the things that I wish more people have read earlier in their internet career. The rules of the internet, and understand the entire philosophy of why that spread and was as common as it was for a time. If you don't understand that deep dive, then you're new. Hey, welcome. So, all the new kids to the internet, all the old kids that know what's going on, you're gonna hear me out. Starting a business is tricky. It's hard. There's a lot of legal paperwork. It's not fun. Disappointment happens. You may lose your business, and you may have to start again. And honestly, if you fail at something, you gotta try it and try again. So, just because I'm messing with my dog, don't think I'm not paying attention. Because part of your entrepreneurial, damn, a tongue twister. Entrepreneurial journey. Once you're on that path, you have to change the way that you view the world, and it's one of the subtle things that I think non-business owners don't always understand because they've never been in that position. There's a mindset of being an employee and an employer, and I know linguistically there's a very small change, but there's actually a big fundamental difference on how you view the goings on of the economy and everything because of what you're actually tuned into. Now, it's super easy for an employee to get the mindset of an employer. It's called learning business. Learning business also includes not only your supply chain management, but it also has to do with all of the international and domestic trade issues that are going on. Because realistically, you can only trade your product or service in an applicable market with a demographic that wants said product or service. That's the fundamentals of understanding what this economy is all about. And since we have gone to a globalized version and there's different restrictions between things, these are some of the nuances that you have to remember. It might make a big difference if all of a sudden there's a flood on the East Coast and all the hog farmers have got a bunch of dead pigs. Maybe that might make bacon more expensive. So if you're deciding to go and make a brand new restaurant and you're going to start to highlight the features of different pork products, well, your cost may be more than if you're going with the chicken. These are hypothetical scenarios. So does this equate to real world stuff? It might, but I'm not a restaurateur. You need to know the specifics of what kind of business you're getting into and how to navigate those things. You have to be on top of it. And part of an employee mindset is the ability to say, nah, I'm putting down my stuff and I'm done at the end of the day. And I can turn off that mindset. And an employer mindset doesn't turn off because all the other factors in their life affect their base understanding of how to direct business. As far as I've understood it, you don't turn off once you're an employer. You do turn off when you're an employee. And because of that, most typically, it imbues a heightened sense of responsibility for not only your actions, but the prosperity of others. And that's a key difference, the prosperity of others, because every person at the end of the day is going to be out for themselves. That there's nothing wrong with that. You've got to look after you first, then you can look after your tribe before you can look after your whole clan and extend it onward. You've got it funnels out from nuclear to extended. In doing so, if you forget to focus on you, it might be great for your community, but then you're taking a lot of the hits. Or you could focus all on you, and you're not sharing it with your community. They're taking all the hits. It's responsibility change. I don't know how else to explain on that. Let's see. I honestly don't want to talk about business this early, but you know what? It's Monday at 7. And this is the kind of mindset that I'm hoping that you can grow and develop. I want you 13-year-olds to understand that there's a responsibility aspect of life. And that's something that I didn't get for a hot minute, and that's okay. But again, I tried and tried again, and that does lead to some success. Now, I've also failed plenty of times, and without going too much into all of my failings, I'm going to say that I did my best to grow and learn from them, and that's the most that you can expect out of any human. Dude, this song is so mismatched with the topic. How do people... Honestly, I don't get how people can just talk straight at a camera and just prattle on about while being interesting without having wrote it out like a full fucking argument. How do people riff? Like that's a good query. How do people riff on shit? I think that's a really fun thing I want to understand because I don't get it. I'm absolutely lost at this game. I'm attempting to try. This seems to be a new hot thing, and if you can't get into it, then what else is there to get into? Ah, I'm totally gonna delete this. This was a fun setup. If anyone hears me, well, awesome to them, but hmm. Waking up with the sun is an entirely different experience than waking up later in the day. And I've wanted to enjoy the time that I have right now. That's one of the reasons why I'm up at 7 in the morning. Um, for context, I have a tech job where I'm in the manufacturing division, and my shift gets off, like it ends at 1:30 a.m. So we're the second shift, late night shift. There's overnights, and that's an entirely different level of manufacturing. But so 7 o'clock is really early. Um, and I've got to figure out how to fill my time. And if I don't figure out how to do this live, then I don't know how I'm ever going to figure out how to fit this into my day. Uh, Honestly, as chill as this music is, it's relaxing. That's kind of So you know how they have lo-fi beats that, and the hip hop girl apparently she graduated or got an A on her test that she was studying for. Fun backstories. You can always look up at the internet, just making lore out of itself. So that's super popular, and oh my god, that looks hot as fuck. Strength. This is a beautiful image. I'm not gonna be able to show it. Damn, that's really fucking. I like that. That's a better background. So I think it's always recommended that someone has a what's the best way to phrase this? A more down tempo musical subgenre they like a specified version of ambient. Do you want it to be like with horns? Do you want it to be violin? Do you want it to be all dubstep waves? What is your down tempo? And I'm very hesitant on using techno terms for those that um, aren't in the culture. I guess that's the fastest way to put it. There's down tempo. There's up tempo, like you go out dancing. You've got your radio songs, your Christmas jingles, and there's down tempo, like your Celtic Woman would be a good example. Inya's a '90s favorite. But not you can't have bubblegum pop as a down tempo. It does. I don't see those sounds mixing. So they usually have a more darker, muted audio quality to them. It's the lo-fi beats for hip hop. That's why that one's a really great genre. People love the crap out of that. and I like Dark House. Always have. It's really nice. So this is some Dark House. Easy, down tempo. I want to get back into that, but oh, dude, the hippie cat did that. Oh, nice. All right, so I've been changing up all of my feed networks because I got a brand new system, so I got to start from scratch. That's one of the things that I think will always be quite fun. Is after 5 years or so of getting the algorithm to think it knows how you work, to start on a brand new platform, like computing platform. Yet, brand new accounts, brand new everything, and literally change up the way that you are interacting with social media and YouTube and Google and all of the other highly trackable versions of the internet, and change it down from the topics that you search and the way that you use the keyboard. Absolutely, you've got to go down to changing the way you type. And I think switching between multiple versions of what it thinks you want and what you actually have asked it versus how it thought on the previous account it worked, it's a really great way to understand how your different choices are, in lack of a better phraseology, are using the quantum physics mechanic of change at a distance. I don't want to go into that now, but change at the distance part of quantum physics and how different algorithms will change all of the outputs that you may request in an entirely different fashion. If you do this and you do it in full earnesty, I think you'll be super surprised at how this works. But I really fear that not enough people have ever done this or even considered it. And that is the supreme problem of echo chambers. And oh my god, if you're stuck in an echo chamber and you don't realize it, you're a moron. Or it's a really good echo chamber and it's doing exactly what it needs to. Because either you're a dense person and you don't understand that everything that you're getting is what you're putting out there. And if you haven't changed what you've put out there in a fundamental way, and the message continues to be the same because you haven't changed, I'm going to let you in on the secret. The world's changing. Shit's happening. And I don't think either large intellectual sides of the intellectual divide are going to fully comprehend that if they don't get a scope from the middle. And if you're trying to find a middle path for those on their eighth way that are understanding that there is a version of non-duality to transverse, if you're picking up these keywords that I'm putting down, you should probably look them up. If you can't go to that place, then you're skewed. You're so fucking skewed. And talking to skewed people it's really hard. I don't know what else to say. Talking to people that have their head so far up their ass that they don't realize that everybody else sees shit, and they think it's sunshine and daisies. I'm baffled. At some point I don't know if they're doing it for a joke or not, because I do hang out with a lot of internet jokesters. They like to have fun. They like to poke humor at things. It makes me laugh. And I could see some people pushing it for fun, and then some people seem to, like, in full earnesty, defend the worst ideas in the world like they're good, and I'm baffled. And I don't know, it's, if you ever try to comprehend the most stupid person ever, and then challenge and have a real challenge with that and think you get there, and then you hear somebody say something dumber, and it just breaks you. It's amazing, and I'm truly impressed that there are functional people on that level. I think it's almost awe-inspiring if you get it. People on the extremes, man, I'm telling you, some wacky shit. So I'm telling you what my feed is. And right now, the video that I've got on loop, because I'm rocking an account that is synced up to two different systems that get two different kind of inputs. I've got how ragdoll physics work, and it's 5 years ago. It's by the Hippie Cat. She's got 64,000 views right now. And it looks funny as crap. I have not seen this. It's in my to-do list. I started following her because I'm going into tech development. That is making a big robot. I am learning how to make a big robot by scratch. You're along for the journey. Surprise. That's what a lot of this is going to turn into. And this is not something that I was into a year ago. That's one reason to change up your algorithm. I've just been getting the funniest shit in my feed. Besides SAO, the abridged. I'm sorry, they do not have that in the abridged part. Yeah, the abridged series. Just rewatch that. Quite funny. I've got Dark Horse podcast clips. You know what that is? That's Brett Weinstein, intellectual dark web. Wasn't getting that a year ago. He also lives in Portland, and oh my god, he's talking about the defund the police crap and how stupid that is. By the way, full hilariousness. This town has gone completely mental. I didn't have Skyrim a year ago. I don't know, 6 months into it. I've got 85% done. This one's taking a minute, boys. It really is. For context, I also got a Grand Theft Auto 3 about half a month before that, and got to 30-some% in what, like 2-3 weeks, and it's taken me months and months and months of Skyrim on end to get to 85%. Fuck, this game takes forever. That's awesome. So I've got the Fudge Muppet and a bunch of other things coming up with that. I do a lot of ASMR. It's super chill. I get mild insomniatic waves. I say waves like it's month-long progression of a bipolar insomnia base. I don't know. I've tried the pharmaceutical route. It didn't work. ASMR does seem to work, and it helps me get to sleep when I can't get to sleep otherwise. And for those of you that don't understand the issues that can come along with sleep, because I get night terrors, because I've gotten sleep paralysis, because I understand that a lot of things that happen once your brain shuts off are not always fun. ASMR helps me. Bonsai Pops popped up in my feed, reminded me of where I come from, my roots. That's right, I'm 90s anime. Remember that, I'm 90s anime. I understand it before you do. More ASMR. Oh, Here's a classic from 2008. Do you guys remember this one? Did you get it yet? That's 3 seconds. I'll give you another 4 seconds. Did you catch it? Yeah, absolutely. You would not catch that because it's a weird intro. Here's another check. Almost. One more time. In Your Arms Tonight by Orbit One. One of the best tracks ever. I don't want to fuck up his algorithms, and I don't want to have too much music strikes on this channel effectively. Orbit One's such a badass. Right there with the TMZ shirt. It's funny as crap. So that's the kind of music that I got into post high school, and because of that predates a lot of bro step, and I think I've got a weird niche of musical taste, and I'm super thrilled about that. So many people are into the basic crap, and one of the problems is that a lot of basic music has terrible morals, and there's some really crazy far out fucking songs that are absolutely wholesome as shit and bangers. Oh my god, some of this shit's bangers, and it's quite insane of how good and wholesome some of the craziest wild shit can be. And that is exactly the kind of experience that I wish more people would immediately deviate to, instead of going to the collective, I don't know, garbage heap that has become modern pop, lack of moralistic dating youth culture. It totally sucks right now, and I'm so sorry. Please get into something much more deep. Do you need Hulong in your life? Do you need Proto-Norse? Because if you need some Proto-Norse, absolutely, be on some Hulong. Do you need the next version of rock? Do you need IGORRR? Fairy noise? Igor? I don't know how to pronounce that. How do you pronounce 3 R's at the end? Igor with 3 R's. That shit's bonkers. Love it. Absolutely. New to, actually just started this month, Some Ordinary Gamers, and he's got a fun, interesting virus. Alright, so this guy does computer hacking and internet deep dives. Totally fucking rad. 2 days ago he came out one that says Pokemon is wild. Absolutely. Also, if you don't understand some of the internet celebrities, then you may not get all of their cultural impact. There's internet celebrity, there is platform celebrity, there is national news media publication celebrity. And the last one is your typical celeb. But being an internet celebrity on the famous of the Salty Cracker is totally different than being, I don't know, Billboard Top 50, Top 40. It's Top 40, right? Top 50 sounds better, but I like metric. I'm not gonna lie. I've been bumping a bunch of house. Yeah, and then I don't know. I've been reading up on graphics rendering, how to, and I don't know, how to design shit. Really boring stuff. I listened to I don't know, 30 minutes of lambda-based calculus. At the same time, I scroll down further and I get a bunch of Mandalorian feed. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been a long time Star Wars fan, absolutely since I was a kid, and I I got to grow up with the second trilogy, and it was a weird time. It was absolutely a weird time, and I've watched this cultural world be totally whacked, and it's kind of sad. And then not only does it have a cartoon show and like a kabillion Lego things, which kind of makes it more childlike than it necessarily needed to be. Because that's more of a cash grab, if you understand that. This new Mandalorian series, I'm digging the fuck out of it. Absolutely. More video game stuff. It's mostly all Skyrim based. Listening to Joe Rogan again. You know, long form podcast, long form understanding. I don't get how you riff this long. I'm really trying to study from the best. And how do you have that much charisma? It's so fucking insane. How do you have Joe Rogan charisma? Like, he's making a fart joke sound smart. It's I really don't get it. More artist tutorial stuff. That's Suicide Sleep. Mr. Suicide Sleep also throws out bangers on the regular. If you haven't looked him up, here's a chance. It's pumping a bunch of Insomniac TV. Mostly for Halloween and stuff. They had full, I don't know, multi-hour long mixes. You can't go raving like you could last year. I'll tell you that. Pop Culture Detective, Star Wars, SAO Abridged, Bonsai Pop. And at this point, because I'm using a game station, and then if I'm ever going to simp for anybody, it's going to be Scottish Murmurs ASMR. Absolute choice. She still keeps it wholesome enough. But again, it's ASMR. It works. So there's a point in which you get the same voices over and over again. I'm going to make sure that I got my subscriptions pulled up because that'll show me. Yeah, that shows me different stuff than just my feed. Which is wild. You can be subscribed to like 20 different things and it will not show up in your feed the same way. I don't know how they think they want you to want it, which is so weird. It's so weird of how they think that you want it and the media that you get exposed to. I have yet to fully catch on to why they do it. Because otherwise I would have gotten 3 great videos from Theora Apotheus. I don't know. He calls himself a bald, fat, tattooed guy. And he's super into cameras and metaphysics. And if you haven't checked him out, he's worth a listen to. I don't know. He's usually in the 20-minute range. Seems to be good. Seems to be good for a scripted one. And then one of the other things that I thought was completely wild is the zoophile community that popped up on my feed, and people are fucking weird. Like, not only is it completely just fundamentally wrong on some level, it's also a weird way to do it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm pro bully. Some people have gotten into some idea of normalcy that is so beyond what is sensible. They actually have to be dragged back into what the middle is. I guess that's a paradox that I'm gonna have to start to fight in my own understanding of. Some people are into some weird stuff and they want it to be normal, and it absolutely shouldn't be. And I think there's a specific line of what is to be crossed and not to be crossed, and I think that is the big base issue of a lot of international conflict. It's we think the line should be here, and then you think the line should be here, and we try to find a compromise, but it ends up going this way because you wouldn't make any compromise, so we're just retracting the whole unit. And this back and forth, the seesaw effect of what culture does to find a happy balance, it's one of the weirdest things to try to experience the long term of this was okay, well now it's not. Well now it is, because the reason that it was not doesn't make sense. But this brand new reason actually does. So is it okay again, or not okay? Or not okay? Or is it not okay? And it gets really confusing, and that's a per topic thing. Culture's totally weird. Ooh. Oh no. Oh, man. I'm looking at a picture of a PCB with a polarity component. It is in the wrong direction. Sad. You do not want that. I don't know. I think VR has gotten interesting, and I think it's time for mass culture to start to flock to it and make it weird, because it all seems super vanilla, and it's time to start making that new platform funky. I think it's had enough beta testing. I think, and I'm addressing this on a philosophical level of culture. Got my Python programmer. Yeah, see, this is the kind of shit that I want popping up in my regular feed, so I happen to go to like the third menu. Because I'm trying to study, and I don't know if you're not. What? All right, there's a clip that says 9/11 attack recreated in GTA 5 with someone laughing over it, and I think that's the kind of content that's funny. I don't know what kind of insight you're gonna get from me reading through my subscription feed. It's boring. It's standard. It's what everybody else has. I'm up at 7, and if I'm gonna be able to function, I don't sleep again, and I've got to fill up this time, and it's so exhausting. You can probably see how the room's gotten progressively lighter. That's one of the reasons why I didn't have desk lamp, as you can see. It makes it pretty bright. Yeah, I've got this big ass window, and I love it. And it's definitely been gray season. Outside is gray, which kind of suits the mood. I don't know. I've got a big old American flag. I'm a fucking patriot. I feel so privileged to be in this country. I want to make it the best version of itself. It's the great international experiment, the giant melting pot that it is. And I think that the fullness of global history really wanted this to be one of the best experiments, and I'm super thrilled to be a member of the team. If we're trying to make this a unified version of a place, y'all are falling apart. Like, there's a lot of fundamentals of what makes this place wonderful. And we can talk about the geography. We can talk about the intentionality behind it, of how things have been planned in such a way that it wasn't haphazard. Most of historic development throughout the world. I think in the fullness of its cycle, on the multi-thousand-year scale, whoa, that's awesome. I think if you start to think of history as we're in somebody's cave age, like they just then got computers. I don't know how they did it with just writing, and that's gonna be like 1,000 years in somebody's future, and we're pioneering this stuff, and I think it's so fucking cool. And that's what America is. America is the pioneer of this great thing. I'm referencing my flag in the window because it's bright. It's gotten brighter. I've got some birds behind it, and I think it's really cute. Got a big old window and just a bunch of gray sky. Portland's gray. I've got the view. I've got the 5th floor view with the mountain around the corner, and with a little coffee shop and a pub, and a burrito place across the street. It's fucking set. I'm right next to the highway, but I've got a whole building to block off the noise, so it's quiet. I'm within walking distance to the hospital if I need. That does come with there's sirens now and then, but I'd rather know that they're close by in case something happens. You know, fucking security shit like that. And I'm supposed to be in what is the most progressive democratic paradises. And for full disclosure, I grew up a Democrat. Strong Democratic household, big on the values. And I've turned into, I guess, a libertarian. I don't have a third party because mathematically the system doesn't work anymore like that. You can't just claim a third party. If you've looked at the numbers, then they're less than 10% of the voting population, which is still only 2/3 of the nation. So I'm not certain if that 2/3 is indicative of. Let me get my facts right, because you're gonna fact check me one day. I know this. I'm using the reference number of, in the most nearest political experiment we had, for rounded math, super rounded off the top of your head math. So don't at me with like to the decimal point crap. Two large parties, they've got about 75 each, 75 million. And we live in a population that is 330 million. So, off some rough math, it's about half, or a little bit less than half, of 300 million voting. Now, there's going to be a lot of uneligible voters, and unfortunately, I do have the agreements that the drinking and voting and shooting a gun and getting married and the full age limit of 18 should be pushed back to 21. And I base this not only upon my own failure at the time, the collective wisdom that most of my peers made poor choices, even though we wanted the best for ourselves then. And my continued study of brain science and how just the long-term judgment reasoning center of the brain isn't fully there yet for either XX or XY. I honestly think it would do to have a mandatory extended education, but I do mean an extended education. I did not, in that statement, mean a liberal education, because there's a cultural issue, I think, with understanding what is right and what is wrong, and how that plays out with how you interact with other people that are outside of your tribe, your group, your class, of however you wish to define yourself. And there's not been a lot of respect on either side towards the other. And if we are to progress forward and to be the best example of what Earth has to offer, because that is what we strive for. Now, I get it that we don't always achieve it, but we strive for what is the absolute best, because we deserve nothing less. And since that is the modus operandi of what America is based on, I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing it here at all. I see shitty weather. I see overpriced food. I see expensive housing. I see plenty of land. I see plenty of respect for the land. And I think that mindset, an over-respect, let's put it this way, an over-respect for the land is disrespectful towards the people that live, because it forces an extreme that not everyone's going to jive with. And if it was able to be mitigated through the use of space or a lower density, put on your urban planning cap, if you lower the density, things tend to get better. But that comes at the cost of sprawl. And because if you're trying to maintain same numerical volume, you're going to have to expand instead of contract. And there are a lot of people that are super, really awesomely hyped to make super cities and super dense utopias of what things are. And it's an unnatural, making population and density that is unnatural to the evolutionary understanding of what it is to be a tribal society is a real fucking issue. It's going to be cheaper in the long run for the most people to be in a high-rise downtown than it's going to be out on a half-acre farm, able to grow their own produce and stuff. There's a convenience that you will pay a higher amount for, because you don't have to grow your own food if you live downtown. You just go to the store and buy it. I haven't grown a vegetable in the past 5 years. That's so fucking weird. And it comes from living in more of a city format. And there's a disconnect of those that are in city with high density and the openness that you have to allow your mind to let that kind of society flourish, and how that level of progression is exactly the opposite of the culture in which you came from, and how the respect of the culture that where you came from is not in the new society. I I don't know what to say. It's just, I know it's nice here on the West Coast. I know they got free weed. I know they decriminalized a lot of drugs, and you can make arguments of that supports more crackheads. Yeah, sure. Uh, if you want to think that getting off heroin is easy, I'm sure it's not. And if you are stupid enough, and I'm going to be clear, I'm going to pro bully you. If you think that heroin's cool, it's not. You might have to go on some opiate derivative through a medical treatment, but treatments end. Unless you're living at the doctor's house because I don't, you've got an open skull case. You shouldn't be exposed to that in a long-term detrimental way. That's part of the responsibility of pharmakia. The medicine man tells people to stop taking the medicine at a certain point, to let the rest of nature run its course. So let's get off the Joe Rogan Experience Bigling. I want to have this guy walk through the woods while he explains data sets, because that's the kind of shit I'm into. This is the land full of people like that, and it's also a land full of crappy graffiti. I understand and respect the art form that was birthed through the 70s and 80s to rise in the 90s and has dug its heels in and decided that it's going to be here to stay. I understand the art form and talent that's required to have a quality version of that, and I think the interesting offspring of different kind of mediums that's meandered into, including the sticker art scene, which is alive and well here. There's also so much political crappy garbage that they've seen that, oh cool, there's some really nice graph up on the wall. Anybody can do that, and you blast your bullshit message way across it without having any style behind it. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Graffiti's always been political. However, it's done with style. It's absolutely done with style. And I don't understand how people are intentionally going to strip the art out of the art form just because it's a form. I'm looking around for reasons of this to make sense, and I feel like I talk in circles because the whole world does not make sense other than it's a clown world. Everything that should be good and wholesome about this is not, and it's all corrupted to such an extent that I fear for the future. I absolutely fear for the future. I fear that the upcoming generations are going to be thrust into a world that is so alien to how humans have evolved, and understanding that epigenetics is a centuries-long process, and that we've radicalized all versions of technology to be on an exponential curve, and our biology is not keeping up with the rate of progress, and the fundamental disconnect of what that does to our society and culture at large, because we have interconnected and become a global populace. The repercussions of this is so normative. Yeah, I don't understand why all this bullshit comes down. You want police reform? Cool. Be there Thursday night or whenever your local precinct happens to have its community meetings. Because, if they're not required to by law, which I think they should be, And if not, you can petition the people that make laws to make that an open forum by force. Go and hang out with them. Go in and bust up their time because you got a bone to pick with them. Go to the fucking root of the problem. Don't paint a bunch of bullshit on the side of the road when it looks like trash. When you absolutely just make trash. My dog is currently shedding, and I have brushed out volumetrically a regular sleeping size pillow. One that you would enough stuffing to fill up a fucking pillow worth of dog fur. And but dogs and cats, they've got this down, this hair that is so light and shaped in such a way that it gives air buoyancy a chance for just a minor current to make it airborne. It's not lighter than air because if there's no fluid dynamics to the air, it will absolutely fall. But if there are fluid dynamics throughout the air, dude, it's airborne. And that's one reason why cat allergies are bad for me. The dander, it's lighter than like this. That's enough to make a ripple to get it on the other side to move. And it's just been popping in my mouth all week. And I don't know, it's not the most fun. Oh shit. Alright, so it's 8:01 finally. I've been on this for I don't know how long. It says it's still rocking. Or at least I assume that it is. I'm not in charge of everything, and I don't have a straight timer. Oh, okay. It says I've been out of my software for 57 minutes, even though. So it's 8:01. We've been on this bullshit talk for way too long because I want to help clear my head and get it on the record. I want to get my head on the record. Knowing that the half-life of the doses of the chemicals that I want to have in my system before I go to work need to be at a certain level, I cannot expose myself to those things after a set time. I think that's just how human biology works. So I've got about 30 more minutes to do any kind of inebriation because I can't be sober at work if I don't finish early in the day and get sober and then be at work stone sober the whole time. That's one of the things. I think people understand alcohol. It's about an hour. It's, one beer, 1 hour. One glass of wine, 1 hour. One shot, because those are powerful, 1 hour. Well, one of the great things about shots is you can dilute it back down into like your coffee and get it so you can have a full-size beverage, but still have the inebriation level of 1 unit. That's why the beer measurement is pretty fun to go with. So that's about 1 an hour. You can process that. So you got 3 hours later, you should be sober. If you've had 1 beer and are not sober 3 hours later, I think you've got a medical condition. And if you've got a medical condition, you should probably adjust your substance intake greatly based on any kind of medical anything. That's you're electric meat. You're a weird anomaly of what nature is. Plants, cool. Animals, wild. If we didn't develop fur, if we were inverted pigments, if we had dude, it's not hard to make sci-fi out of what is real because we're already strange enough. The human is a strange creature if you haven't figured that out. And because of this, you got to treat it right. The system that you're in will only operate at what is given to you. You only get one, quote, divine spark uh, in this run through. Now, you might want to say that you can speed run through multiple ones throughout a many multitude of times. That's an entire different discussion and theory to get into. But as far as the current spark that you've got now, and once it's gone, it's gone, you got to treat that shit right. So you got to plan ahead. So I'm going to get high right now. And it's not doing so hot because half of it's already been through the vaporizer. So a lot of the fun terpenes are out, and it's a lot harsher now. So that's one reason why I've been kind of delaying this instead of just pounding it out in the first 5 minutes. Slider's almost dead. Alright, here. Let's get a tour of my house. You've earned it. Yes, wearing pants. It's part of starting your day. You have to be fully dressed. Monitor says run. Will this work? I'll just hold it up like this. As you can see here, boys and girls, let's give you some more pocket back. Cool, let's see if that works. So that's hand pipe. That's not vaping smoke. All right, what do we got here? That's right. It's actually a tutorial. Surprise. I've got my candle. Where you get gold painted acorns. That's totally up to you. You can see. It's nice. It's white. Below it pink as a mushroom. So I've got mushroom and acorn. I'm burning off my erroneous shapes as I do a refresh every year. Got your crystal ball, got your grounding stone, prayer candles, donation box. We're oxidizing the outside layer of a bunch of herbs. They're going to go into a tea, and they're going to be really fucking strong once I'm done with it. So I'm oxidizing part of the outside layer to change part of its metaphysical properties, and that also takes away part of its nutritional quantity of different chemicals. So what's the best way to say it? It changes some of the chemistry behind some of the plant matter. So that's what's going on, which is important to what it's going to be used for. Got home blended incense and resins. So home base, got that burn off, a bunch of incense matches. What haven't I shown? More incense, that's right. This is an air altar. If you want a rock altar, more heavy duty groundings, grounding stone. That's a much more rare earth element. Design flowers on display, meaning totally different things. What people, little house, larger offering, liquid. This is the forest I bought. Each one of those toothpicks represents a tree that I have paid for to be planted, one for one. Haven't done as much charity as I would like. I've and or the receiving end and the giving end. I think that's just phase of life for everyone. But all things change in time, don't they? We've got where we brew yage. Don't do it that often, so it's one, it gets its own little designated jar. Got a brand new horn, and by new it's, I don't know, less than 5 years old. Call that new. It's supposed to last a lifetime. Got some single incident thing. This shit really needs to pop off. But my backups, because I've also got something that needs to have a little bit of defense. That's a defense run right there. And then some extra tea. And inside of this, I'll show you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, herbs. Very, very expensive exotic herbs. If you're rocking with some burdock in your kitchen, you're on my level, boy. But if you've only got thyme, basil, mint, come on, expand a bay leaf. But no, I've got ceremonial blueberry leaf. I go local, I go hard, I go traditional, and I don't know how I can always incorporate this into a bunch of kermuffin, a bunch of nonsense. So I'm trying to understand the divine between the digital and the arcane. And here's my dog for reference. She doesn't think being filmed is fun. I don't think it's fun, but if it's part of the new economy, then I am going to at least put my best foot forward and attempt to be part of it. Now, as you can see, I am a member of the Magic Tribe. I've got special needs and wants and desires that don't always conform to every other plan. We are our own tribe, after all. We do not think in the same way that others do. That's a lesson that is lost on youth. I think now that I've been coming on the edge of when I need to transition from student to mentor, I've really tried to change the mindset behind how I interact with sources of knowledge and the different respect that different people have been given it. And I see a divide on either side. Yeah, you can be there. That's fine. I've tried to do some quiet recording, and she can be quite noisy because she's a fun little cutie kid. And there's only a couple hours in the day when everything's quiet. There's garbage trucks, there's police cars, there's everything, because it's in a city. I live in a city. I don't live out in the country where it's quiet. I don't think I can afford that right now, and I would love to. I think that that's actually the next move, to figure out how to afford to live in the middle of nowhere and produce on site and export all product. I think that's the next phase of my life. I was super excited to do that with a hand-selected person. She went through a multi-year interview process. That's called engagement, and she passed. And then she decided that this is not the path for her after she signed the agreement, and I think that that is besides being hurtful, that is something that I'm going to have a hard time ever being okay with. I cannot ever think I can fully articulate how deep some things hurt. of it. You put yourself out there 110%. You went just a little bit extra, just to make sure that everything's on board. And once it passed we're on the lifetime subscription ship. We have signed the soul away. We have done the blood sacrifice, and after that, there's a level of disconnect. I think between the multi-year process of what it is and the multi-month dissolution. I think that's so. That's really fucking bad, because a lifetime investment doesn't come around very, very often. And I'm at the age out point. I am past prime. I cannot, in good conscience, do that with another party member, because they all get vetted like this now, if not more. And at the end of the vetting process, that would be post prime. That's the simple mathematics behind it. So I don't get my dream come true. That didn't work out for me. I want people to know that there are windows of what works and what doesn't work, and a lot of windows can be reopened, but opening new ones is where the issue is. You can always reopen other old windows. Those have already been opened. But you can't always open new ones. And that's... Dude, what am I seeing? It's green glass. Apparently it's radioactive glass. It's green. Cool. Radioactive glass. Never knew that was a thing. Sorry for getting distracted. I don't know, it's a sad topic. What do you want to hear forever? You want to hear about my love life? You want to hear about programming? You want to hear about video games? You want to hear about politics? You want to hear about music? I'm into all that shit. I've got a film camera. I've got a dog that I will not be able to keep because it's going out with the ex-wife. I've got a kitchen that is yet to be fully cleaned because I don't even have any inspiration to go in there and make a thing of it. You're more than welcome to join me along for that journey if you'd like to. If you want to be part of a former cook's kitchen. I've got 100 some books that I've got to get rid of by the end of the year, and I'm going to be reading a majority of them at speed reading levels. That's right, I'm a speed reader. I can tell you about the herbs in my closet. Right now I'm smoking the last little bits of cannabis because I don't need it throughout the week. I want that shit gone. I had it for the holidays. Holidays is over. I can show you what I keep in my first aid kit. That's right, I keep an emergency first aid bag. I've got, I don't know, 30 some books on just pharmacia of medicine. I've got 2 bookshelves full of selected topics of the occult and witchcraft because I'm into my thing. I don't know. I've still got college textbooks if you want to see the kind of courses that I went through in college. I've got fundamentals of psychotherapy. I've got extraction methods. I've got growing methods. I've got the chemistry behind it and the user experience and the data. I've got that whole set, so that I've got the data and the receipts for all that I'm talking about. I archive it in paper because you can't hack paper. That's just not a thing right now. I've got records to show that I've been DJ since the age of cassette. It's just a hobby. I never wanted to go pro. I don't spend money on it. If you're at my level, you shouldn't either. You know why? Keep your hobbies fun. I don't know. I do leather working. I craft wands. I'm one of, I don't know, maybe 3,000. I don't think there's more than 3,000 wand makers out there. No, I may be wrong, but it's a small community. People that make wands. And I'm not talking about industrial plastic, movie prop crap. I'm talking about handmade wooden wands of the occult variety, of not just your pop culture reference variety of actual religious based reference. Super small group to be part of. So I don't know. I've got. What do you want to hear? What do you want to know? What are your questions? One, I don't have nobody in the chat. I haven't seen no messages. I'm gonna leave this up, mistakes and flaws and all, because it's long form. I'm here to teach, and I need to know what you want to know. Do you want to know more about cryptocurrency? Because I definitely got a 700% return on that bounce. I made bank. I've also lost entire bitcoins because I was in on it early. And dude, there was a time before they were $100 pop, and if you were there, you could have snagged up some. And absolutely, I kept the format in a digital printout of paper because I thought it was cool, and totally lost the wallet. So it's gone. It's one of those lost coins. Asset management. That's why I've got a safe now. I keep the important things locked up. It's called learning from your mistakes, boys and girls. I can teach you how to summon a djinn. I can teach you how to make mead. Yeah, I know how to make mead. Or any other fermented fruit. If that's what you guys want to see. I want to get into multi-language speaking. So speaking more than one. So that's a thing that's going to be along this journey. Surprise. We're going multilingual, not just try, but like 4. I used to be a professional cyclist. I was on a sponsored team. I was collegiate level pro athlete. I had a prime. I know where it was because I was it. It was at peak performance. Past that hill. Now, it doesn't mean I can't come back up and be part of amateur league, because that's always fun and interesting. And I'm always glad to see older contestants. They have some of the wildest play style.
Yeah, you burp on me because I'm petting your ears.
She's going back home with my ex because effectively she's a gift and can't keep gifts forever like that, I guess. It's going to be really lonely, and that's why I'm starting this out, because I've lost the person that I've become most attached to. I am living on the opposite side of the continent as my normal sport network. I found myself in an environment that is bleak and full of dirty heroin users that are clogging up the drains and killing the trees because they haven't moved their fucking tent in so long, and they're hoarding broken bicycle parts and shopping carts full of trash, and it's squalor. It's utter filth, and there's a portion of our population that is encouraging this on a policy level, and I think it's if you've seen the conditions, I don't see how you would ever want to encourage that. You would want to do your best to discourage it, but they're not, and it baffles me some days. It honestly baffles me. The disconnect of the policy that you're enacting versus the rhetoric of the intention behind it is, did I take too many non-duality pills? Am I just the double think and in reverse logic, and I feel like I should never study psychology because now I'm just in a world full of crazy people because they're all insane. And I thought I found a good one, and she fell prey to it, and I don't know what to do anymore, because if that was one of the best options at my prime to find, and how the dynamics of the sexual marketplace have altered and since along with my streak of traditionalism and purity, along with a corrupted past and trying to layer in somebody else's corrupted past, and how the what's that great Christian phrase? The unequaled yolks do not mix well together. If you understand the difference between a fresh egg yolk and a really, really old, been in the back of the fridge, might have been slightly frozen at some point, egg yolk, two different things. Yeah, they're both egg yolks. Yeah, they do. They'll look the same as scrambled eggs, I'll tell you that, but only to an extent. That fresh egg yolk is prime. And that old ass back of the fridge, I pity that. And knowing that our biology has been fast tracked to have multiple cycles, almost 13 a year, as part of the modern invention of chemistry, and how it has sped that up probably 3 times faster than actual normative cycles per our biology. That's problematic. Let's get that clear. This world is so fucking backwards. I'm so surprised. An election that should have took 3 days is still contested because nothing's been fucking certified all the way through, and one side claims fault and bad things, and the other side is everything happened good. And what you talking about, Willis? I've got 3 minutes to smoke, so we're gonna get fucking heady real quick. Pull up your glass, pull up your drink, pull up your bowl, pull up your bong, your pipe, your joint, your cigarette, your cigar. Pour you that latte, that cocktail, that mocha frappuccino, that I don't know, black. Get you a black and mild at a 40. I don't really give a damn. But go. Let's give some background music. Nobody's in the chat. We can either go with proximity or untitled burial, because they're the first ones that are in this whole new algorithm. Let's go with proximity because more people know it. Yep. Two weeks ago, make progressive house great again. And we're gonna skip the first couple of tracks because that's bullshit. And we're gonna start 20 minutes and 18 seconds in. You ready? You got 2 more minutes. Here's your background. The weather's crappy. I want to go play with my dog outside. So I play smaller games with her inside. She's also about to go and live on a mountain. So I'm not feeling super bad about not getting enough exercise. Knowing that I come from mountain folk, where we actually hike and live in nature. And my relationship wasn't such a cycle that we could jettison out of the city and go back into the nature and experience it in a way that is fundamental to our childhoods. And to find the person that meets you on this level of they're your people, it's enough genetic diversity that it's not going to cause an issue. But that's your tribe, your person. You're not going to find that anywhere else. And that the option is now gone really hurts. So anyways, dog's gonna go back to pretty much a paradise for animals, and I'm walking her, I'm giving her dog food. As I've told you, I'm grooming and petting and loving and playing some minor games. She's chewed through all the bones in the house. It's a nice, comfortable life. I don't see what she's got to complain about. She gets all the cuddles she needs. I guess it's good to have a countdown on this time, because I'm about to be the loneliest I've been in pretty much 5 years. I am. This loop is quite interesting. I wish it was a fully fleshed out world instead of just a music video that had a nice. Yeah, it full loops. I just watched it. Okay, I'd like to make a digital world, and I'm trying to study algorithmic design so I can figure out how to take randomized input based off what the user would like to see and make that come out. So let's turn this down so we can talk for a second. Not my end goal, not my final project, but as my showcase. I want to make a digital world that you can experience on a gaming level that is designed by 3 questions and someone's name. What kind of game they want to play, what kind of environment, and what their name is going to be. And everything else is going to be based on that alone. And I want it to be more immersive than I've seen in a lot of games. I think VR has the best potential, and I want it to be as what's that? The multi-planet system world. Sky's End, as diverse as Sky's End, but as harmonious as the Elder Scrolls has made a universe. And the option to go between futuristic or past is I think the next question of, are we going to have past tech and future tech? God, this song's good. This is one of the best riffs in all of music history. It consistently blows me away that some people don't even vibe with it, and it's such a fucking vibe. I'm so confused at people. There's some level of past future collision in my world of obnoxiously traditional into ancient ways and practice on leading edge of tech updates, of trying to design a system that literally is updated to the last 15 minutes. And that's a whole new level of programming that I've never been into. And it's a fine line that I have not seen before, and I want to show that it can be done, because it's so fucking rad once it gets right. Quit backing your butt on me. If you want this, you must drop it to present it, and then I will get it. And I threw it straight in the kitchen. I think technology is progressed to a point where I can manipulate it for my reality. I have definitely waited long enough for the tech to catch up to my dream, because it's like trying to paint. Yeah, I guess trying to paint in color when all the only tools around are black and white. You've got charcoal and you've got, I don't know, chalk. That's it. And everything in your imagination is 100% Technicolor. And you have to wait till Technicolor's on the market. And that's the level of idea this is. And I think it's finally on the market, boys. So this is the golden age of the internet's over. We've got to say that was also the learning phase. We're on the next level, and it's going to be on. This is going to revolutionize so much of society that we're not fully ready for it. I want to make that transition smoother, and that means I'm going to have to be on the cutting edge of Stone Age tech, in a manner of speaking. I'm so excited about next year. I love my job. It's something that I don't think I've said in a long time. I love my job. Shit's so harsh though. I'll shut up. If you guys don't know how to get rid of the evil eye, might I suggest using a symbol like this. Because this is a lifestyle. It's not just... I'm sure I can make this Instagram gorgeous, because Instagram loves to be gorgeous. It's a change in how you view the world. It's like saying, one of the most radical divisions is saying it's the purest of the science of all of what science has ever been. It's the purest, and I think to hold that as a statement out to people that don't even understand what witchcraft is, and watch them blink, it's so funny, because what you're truly studying and trying to understand is the manipulation of ether, of what is pure energy, of what is not even tangible. And yeah, you can make lasers and stuff, but that's a particle understanding of the universe. That's not ether understanding. Particle physics, that's great. That's what math's based on. It's given rise to all this technology, but it doesn't change the fundamental forces of what's going on behind that, and that's ether. And I don't know. This is the study of ether, and it's such a... It's I don't know, the opposite of particle. It's how do you explain the depth of a topic without going into the depth? How do you explain depth? How do you explain complexity? How do you use that without using the lexicon of the desired medium? How do you wordsmith? How does enunciation change the entire delivery? Does that change the message? Does it even apply? Or is it done in a way that it makes no difference at all? Or does it make a reverse difference because it's supposed to imply another layer of meaning behind it? She keeps trying to rub her butt on me. It's kind of weird. You're not going to get those anymore, so you might as well trim now. Yeah. One of the things that I've found is most polite for dogs, if you don't want them to play with one toy, you give them a thing to chew on. Or if you don't want them to chew on a thing, you play with a toy. It's called attention redirection. So as long as you've got some level of equivalency, they seem to be pretty content. I think that works in a much more abstracted way for humans, because we're primates, we're not canines. We function differently. And that's one of the things that I've always found the silliest when we're talking about hard data in science. And you can get into whether or not the telomere length on mice is going to change the results of your cancer treatment, which... Oh wait, you weren't ready to hear about telomere length. Well, I think that's kind of one of the things that shows we've designed all of our science around these weird models that aren't us, because the taboo, the hardest taboo of any science is human experimentation. And in our effort to avoid that taboo, we've developed systems around an entirely twisted model. So, I think we've finally started to hit some of that experience with a global fucking plague that absolutely has identification markers that shows that it's less natural than we would have liked. And because of the consequences of our understanding of biochemistry at this point, that makes a large difference on the expression of a lot of different things. And I think we're also really short-sighted because our slice of understanding is super limited, mostly because it's built on bad models. And there's gonna be a point where we've got to start to, I don't know, have some normalized version of a test class. We can't just do mass public experiments with no reset button where everyone's part of it. We have to have localized groups of consenting adults saying, you know what, for the sake of science, I'm going to donate my living life instead of my dead life. And I don't hear that in a lot of the scientific community because it's such a fucking taboo. Because it's so fucking scary to know that part of the only way that we're going to ever evolve manually is to fully understand the system running at full capacity. And that involves someone signing up and saying, hey, please expose my brain to an open casing so that it can be under a better monitoring service. And to get people to understand that level of invasiveness, if something goes wrong, you're dead. You're instantly dead. Because you don't have your skull at that point. And that's the level of trust you have to have. It's so hard to get. But we've got to get to this consensus amongst the global populace. Someone's going to have to get the short end of the stick, and they can either choose to do it honorably, or we're going to end up in scenarios where it's forced. And I really hope that we can get to some level of it's beyond UBI. Universal citizenship, where this is a respected thing to do, and it gives you an additional right to voice things because you have donated so much of what you are to the dreams and visions of everybody else. I don't know how to indicate this on such a global scale because it's more than just whether or not the drafted members of the Russian military are going to have different stimulants gone through their MREs and see their effects, or whether or not the sexual reproduction biases of enlisted men will result in continued exposure of a select set of viruses and their mental outcomes. It's some level of misinformation because not everyone knows what they're signing up for, and I think that's the worst problem of not being informed. I think if somehow we can find whatever balance is of, hey, we need to replace part of your neurons with with metal so that we can better understand how neurons work in a certain ligament so that we can reproduce that for people that have experienced great loss. Someone's got to sign up for this. Someone's got to sign up for, all right, well, we've gotten so much of our attention span to be directed towards a silicon-based platform. Are we going to interface that into the human body? If so, where and how is that going to be in a native interaction as opposed to a secondary? The hand to eye is different than the eye to the brain. And these are part of growing on an exponential curve, something that our society has achieved. If we are ever going to make it, we have to think about the millennia-long consequences of this. If you're thinking 1,000 years at a time, all right, cool. What, 50 years they figured out how to go from print to internet? That's a pretty big step. In the same time, they've resituated how they're doing all of their growth development through the use of pregnancy and hormones and the different nutritional outcomes that are mandated on some level. So the entire diet has been redesigned to fit some new narrative by choice. That's a large leap in evolution. We've gotten to such a level of understanding that I don't know how you could be anything but blind. I give blind people a pass because they literally can't see. And I hope the metaphor is not lost on them, that for those that can see, you would have to be blind to not understand and see this happening all around you. And the lack of willingness of people to accept that as the elephant in the room, of that we are exponential, and that has such a profound impact of all of your mathematics. Once you've gone from addition to exponents, you've changed a lot. And dude, Porter Robinson bangs every time. I love Porter Robinson. We're not having this conversation that I'm seeing very much, and where we are having it is not the places where it should be heard, because most of the time when you have these conversations, they're in the tiny little echo chamber way off in the corner that understands, but they're not in the middle of the room. And I feel like the middle of the room is absolutely terrified of these concepts. Global homo of the pushed, how to best word, transhumanistic ideology of becoming more than your biology, and how that is absolutely a fundamental shift away from the traditional family unit and all of the ritual that is involved in psychological development, for the choice to export that out to others and have all of their biases injected. These are fundamental topics that truly affect everybody, that I think are so overlooked. And the state of the weather is that important. Is it cloudy? Is it consistently cloudy? How's your weather been? I know that's one of the worst intro topics, but dude, how's your weather been? Have you been like chilling in like 68 degrees in your office? Have you brought your hoodie and sweater along with you through the house? Are you in a hot location that has lots of insects when you go outside? Do you need to run an air conditioner because it's hot? Do you have a heating device because you're in a colder location? These are changes of the base human operating system, our source code, the DNA that, what is it, like 98% of us share, because we're really not that different. That 2%, or what, 1.3, or I don't know. The small amount of difference is actually a big difference too. the same time. But we're mostly the same, and just changing the factors between hot and cold, or bright and sunny, or cold and, or dark and gray, that's a big shift. And you can point into the physicalities of whether or not vitamin D and different nutritional things are happening at the same time. These are big conversations, and we're just winging it, saying that everyone's on some equal footing. We're not. If you're eating a regimented, nutritional-based diet with constant access to medicine and, I don't know, physical trainers, your experience of life is going to be so much better than someone that's just winging it with, I don't know, whatever they get at the store and whatever their lifestyle can afford because they work. And it doesn't matter what the work is, because that's not even being addressed. That's so much of a difference in how we operate. I don't know. There's so many interconnected things, and I'm so tired of people not getting that you can't be so far fucking out that you forget what the middle of reason is. And I get just as mad at the people in the middle that don't understand that there's a reason why they're so way fucking far out there. Why this one issue is so fucking important, that it needs to be populated. And I don't know, it's the importance of the ether. If you get it, you get it. And if you can see the grand scheme of it and how it's all functioning and how something super delicate is actually really important, now you need to kind of put up with some shit just so it can get done. I don't know. I'm trying to burn off hours of my life because I literally have to wait till things open before I can start to call them. So it's going on 9 o'clock. I've rambled for an hour and 53 minutes apparently. There's been no comments in the chat. I'm absolutely a nobody, just trying to live my life and explain things as best as I know. And I'm trying to indicate that I'm not a complete moron. But I feel super stupid when I try to think about it in the official capacity, because the official narrative's absolutely fucked up. It's a spectacle of deliberate confusion, and I have yet to break how that is comprehensible. I've yet to figure out what the fuck on so much shit. It's mind-boggling. So I'm trying to do my best. Please join in. These are going to be live, unedited, raw, and probably quite tasteless. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, whatever time of day or night you're seeing this. If you have a spouse, love on them. If you're thinking about doing something that may hurt them, I would strongly argue that you don't do that. You find a way to resolve your problems and try to keep all your issues in-house so you don't export them out of house. Because once you've lost primary control of an issue, then it's in multiple hands. That's just a whole issue on its own. Hope that you guys have a great time, great day, and you continue to remember that you're just a giant organism living in a weird world. Treat it right. You're an organism.